All right, out on the course, we're going to be testing the Miniax with the wide arm kit and the rally. We'll talk about the rally too. All right, let's go for a drive. I'm going to be one-handing it, as I always do. Let's give it a go. It's already really squirrely. Plenty of power, stock system. I gotta kind of get used to driving with this radio again because I'm usually driving a DX5 one-handed. This is a little trickier. Let me adjust some of my gain there. Oh, baby. Yeah, this clipless system is not ideal. I suppose I could gear up a little bit. Man, this radio sucks to drive one-handed. Body's already crooked again. Yeah, these clipless systems just don't hold up, I don't think. Yeah, this radio is not easy to drive one-handed. Not the most glamorous driving in the world because my finger dexterity is just not set up for this radio. It jumps well, it doesn't roll. Full throttle. Still holding full throttle into the grass. But yeah, this radio is not the easiest to drive one-handed because the steering wheel is too far away and the trigger travels too far in either direction. Not ideal. I basically just wish I had bigger hands. But we could talk about the truck a little bit. Not the most glamorous driving in the world, but I've already got a feel for it, so I can explain a little. Let's get this out of the way first. Grass is a little bit wet. Obviously, the Wide Maxx arm kit does push out the width of the wheels, of course. And as such, there is more leverage on the shocks. So I use the innermost position here and increases the leverage. There's more of a motion ratio here, which effectively makes the shocks a little bit softer. And I actually kind of like that. In stock form with the narrow arms and the narrow and the stock shocks, not a huge fan. It was super bumpy, even with a super light oil. I think I put like 17 weight oil in there. Still very stiff. So that was all in the springs. Overly sprung, in my opinion. So when you go and increase the motion ratio by widening the track width, it effectively makes the shocks softer. Combine that with the added width gain, and it makes this truck significantly more stable. To be expected. I mean, this surprises nobody. We weren't going to find out if it handles better. We were going to find out how much better it handles. I could gear it up a little bit. Maybe put the stock wheels back on. They might weigh more. But I like how these wheels look. Makes it look mean, you know? I'm into it. I'm into it. Of course, I'm not going to be going back to the narrow arms. Why would you? Or why would I, rather? I wouldn't. But if you like the stiff, bouncy, uncontrollable nature of the narrow arms, then more power to you. Set up the truck however you wish your experience to be. There is no wrong answer. I like this setup. Will I be getting a Mini XRT? Nah. I'm convinced this is how it would have handled anyway. Just with a different body. That body, mind you, has that horrific, ugly hole that they put in there on the windshield. It won't self-right onto us, not with this system. Also got that wheelie bar there. A little bit in the way. Yep. Just needs a little bit more wheel speed, gear it up a little bit. Full throttle. Ooh, oh, save it. Oh, I can't save it. That's okay. We'll move on to the rally. We'll talk about that. Just cleaned it yesterday too, but we're gonna have to get it dirty again for science. Got a 2S here with the 3S system, stock gearing, center diff, fans, improved servo. Adjusted the shocks a little bit, added some preload and increased the motion ratio by mounting them a little bit to the next hole inboard. We're gonna go for a drive and we're gonna talk about how much I really don't like this clipless system. Let's get it. Started life brand new as a BL2. Not my first rally. My last rally was a speed runner, 100 miles an hour, stock body, long before the clipless redesign and the new paint colors. Full throttle. A little bit noisy on this one. I might have to take a look at those gears, but it still rides smooth. Of course, I already put the 3S system in it because, well, that's why I bought the BL2, because I already had the system laying around at home to upfit this one. Already had servos and all that too, so. I drove it stock. You guys might have seen that video. Or rather, stock suspension, I should say. For me, I'm not focusing so much on power or durability because those are known quantities for the most part. Not a whole lot of people seem to be talking enough about how the chassis handle and what sort of driving experience they can provide. So I try to focus on what's it like to drive in terms of handling and that sort of thing. And what I found in stock configuration with the BL2, nice, is the ride height was a little bit on the low side, and I think that was mostly the body. I actually liked how it handled. But with the clipless body system, you can't adjust the height of the body, and that's my biggest gripe, is there's no height adjustment. That drives me nuts. So, with every little bump or the smallest of jumps, medium-sized rocks, it will absolutely agitate the car's handling mid-corner. Paired with the 2056 garbage servo, it just wasn't good. So naturally what I did is I upgraded the servo and I tried to help raise the body by raising the ride height, which is not my first choice because that also changes how it rolls in corners. So I added some preload to the stock shocks and the stock springs, and I also changed the motion ratio by relocating the lower mounting point on the arm one spot inward. And just like with the Miniax, that increases leverage, makes them softer a little bit, and also increases ride height paired with the increased preload shims. And it doesn't roll nearly as much as I thought it would, virtue of this car not being very heavy. Of course, I'm only running the 2S, and I got stock gearing, so it's not going to be very fast to induce a whole lot of roll anyway. I might throw some sway bars, we'll see. I haven't rolled it, so I kind of like how it leans anyway. But yeah, my biggest gripe is the garbage servo and the non-adjustable body. I understand why they went clipless, it's a cleaner look, I get it, but I have an old body that still had the clips in it, the holes, so I may very well just go back to that style, maybe. We'll see how I feel. It's actually kind of ideal for speedrunning because it sits low, and the clips on the right hand side and the left hand side right by the Nerf bars, right, the clips there will prevent it from parachuting. So if you want to go speedrunning, I think the body is set up for that actually. And I suspect that they changed the compound on the tires, or maybe it's just because I'm so far removed I don't quite remember what they were like, but I feel like these tires have, I don't know, they feel softer to the touch, but they slide better and without traction rolling, so that's cool. Of course, I'm not going to jump this thing a whole lot because approach and departure angles are not very good, and I don't want to tear up this body if I roll. After all, it's not a Slash. Overall, I'm happy to have one, but they need a little bit of help in my opinion in stock configuration. Now, I know the factory 3S ones have a different shock setup. They got stiffer springs and they might have changed preload and mounting points. I didn't really get a good look at it, but I'm not entirely sure it would have made much of a discernible difference. But I think I like it. The body sure catches a lot of debris, which is kind of to be expected. Now, I did see on one of the forum groups, that someone took the electric JATO body and used that as a dirt guard, as a chassis shield. You know, we would use those little mesh netting for this reason, because that JATO body is form-fitting across the edges of the chassis and it uses the same chassis. He got real clever and took a JATO body, attached it to the cage inside the rally, and use that as a one-piece solution so that it's attached to the rally body and it comes off in one motion to keep dirt, dust, and rocks out. And I thought it was absolutely genius. I'm gonna have to steal his idea. Credit to that guy. I'll see if I can find it. This thing just loves oversteer. Loves it, loves it, loves it. Rock solid too, of course, with the LCG chassis. Probably not getting hot either. 2S stock gearing, tiny pinion. I also threw a center diff in there, mainly just because I don't want to deal with slipper springs and all that. Super thick fluid, from what I remember. I don't know, maybe that center diff is doing something here, but I just did it for ease of maintenance, to be honest. Again, all parts I had laying around. This car comes alive here more than it does at my other spot, which has way more rocks and it's not ideal. But this is great. I could kick dust up all day here. This almost kind of feels like an infraction if it were turned into a rally car and kind of downsized, to be honest. I can control lots of drifts. I'm leaning real hard on that gyro. It's easier to drive this radio one-handed than it is a Maxx, because the Miniax, excuse me, because I can just hold throttle here and manage steering reasonably easily. Yeah, this car just eats it right up. Imagine this on 3S. There we go. There we go. Oh, this is great. And I don't have to worry about eating these tires up because these tires will last a pretty fair amount of time on this sort of condition, on this ground condition. Surface, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I could just do this all day. But you boys got to get to work. And I can't forget the Miniax, parked right over there. Rally on towing duty. Not that the Miniax is broken, but I only brought one radio. So let's carry it home. Send it. Ha. Oh, I'm such a child. Oh man, that's not good. Let's shake it off, shall we? Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to clean this pretty good one more time. It's cleanup time with compressed air. 120 psi. Let's go. Day 2 with the Miniax, I decided to put on the stock wheels, gear it up a little bit, and bind it to my Spectrum radio so that I could drive it a little bit more earnestly. And I also decided to bring the homie Thor. He's a good boy. So let's talk a little bit more. Oh yeah, much easier to drive with this radio. Far more used to this, way more familiar. Also, as always, leaning real hard on the gyro. Way better in this gearing. Oh, right on the nose. Tough little sucker though, I gotta say, tough little sucker. Might have to turn that gyro gain up a little bit. Anyway. Save it, save it. Oh, I couldn't save it. I actually like it better with these wheels. This thing does still like to traction roll. So basically, to sum it up, now that I've had some time to think about it, it's way more stable. Of course. I almost kind of feel like it's more durable too. Because I can drive it more confidently without worrying about it tipping over. So I can give it more throttle, hit turns harder, jumps faster, that sort of thing. Yeah, this is a tough little sucker, let me tell you. On this ground surface, it does like oversteer, it does like drifting. So basically, when you go with the Maxx kit, expect the suspension to be a lot softer because of the increased leverage and motion ratio. I would even say expect your drive shafts to last longer because there's less rub. There's more clearance, which is good. And overall, expect it to be able to handle jumps faster, corner harder, because it's more stable and it gives you more confidence. I almost kind of feel the same way about the Wide Maxx kit on an X Maxx. Kind of did the same thing for me. In my opinion, it's way better this way, especially with a Spectrum radio, but that's all preference for me because I can drive it one-handed way better. But since it's day two of testing the Wide Maxx, I decided to bring it into some more context by bringing these guys out. You know, physically, it's like not that much smaller. When you line them up side by side, you realize that the Miniax is not that much bigger. But where you absolutely feel the difference is in the weight and how it handles. This thing is significantly lighter by a lot. Just under 2.5 pounds, this guy. 2.4 pounds without batteries. And the Miniax is 3.9 no batteries. So almost double the weight, which is pretty obscene. Miniax is a fat little sucker. So this is going to feel way more nimble. You can put, I don't know, I think you can put way more battery in these because there's 2 battery trays, albeit smaller batteries, but you can run them in parallel and double your capacity, which is cool. So I've actually got more runtime on this particular car than I would on the Miniax because I'm running 2 2S 2000s in parallel for 4,000 milliamp capacity, which is bigger than the single 2S 3500 in the Miniax. So I would describe this to be spicier, way spicier. Maybe not as durable, because of course the diffs are smaller and the arms are smaller. There's less meat there, right? What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, you go. You do dog things. Suspension articulation right off the bat with the Mini Summit is enormous. You can see so much suspension movement in this guy because it's got the long travel, this bigger wheels. It would normally have bigger wheels, except I got the trenchers on here. Yeah, this thing squats and dives like a crazy person. I didn't weigh this one, but I suspect it's going to be similar to the Mini Revo. So it's going to feel a lot lighter, of course. And with the suspension travel, it's going to be a lot softer. There's going to be a lot more body roll. And it just looks cooler. I gotta say, Mini Summit just looks cooler. Got the gyro in all 3 of these. You're in the way, dude. You're in the way. What are you doing? Huh? Hey, buddy. Come say hi to the camera. No? You don't care. Back to driving. I suspect they're going to be discontinuing the 16 scale lineup entirely in favor of the what I'm calling the Mini platform, because everything has the word Mini in its name now. I suspect we're going to be getting a Mini Slash, probably, maybe. Although I am no insider by any means, I'm just speculating. I could very well be wrong. I had no idea. But I mean, it would be pretty obvious, right? I don't know. I mean, with the way that I drive, do I need them to be any more durable than these 16 scales? Not really. Hey, why are you scratching? Itchy boy. I don't think I need these to be any more durable. I'm perfectly satisfied with the 16 scale for my mini needs, honestly. And if they discontinue these, I mean, Traxxas has been doing some weird things lately, so you never know. They do have a reputation for holding on to parts for years and years and years, but we also never expected them to discontinue the e-Revo and give us all sorts of weird variations on different cars that we've already had. So, I don't know. They could be doing anything. If they discontinue these, I wouldn't be entirely surprised. So, if you're a huge fan of these 16 scales, you might want to start stocking up on your usual suspects, like your arms and your diffs. Or maybe it's just because I'm a hoarder and that's kind of what I'm doing already. So, who knows? Who knows? If you like minis, I mean, you really can't go wrong. The mini game right now is pretty wild, to be honest. More and more options these days. Why are you eating grass, huh? Why are you eating grass? You're gonna cough it up. Yeah, just like that. Uh-huh. Dogs are weird, I swear. What do you think, buddy? Are you happy with all these minis? Huh? He doesn't care. He doesn't care at all. You go do dog things. Get out of here. Just for a quick size comparison, too. Line them up side by side. Don't forget this one. I mean, like I said, they're really not that much bigger or different in size. But because the Mini Maxx on the left is significantly heavier than both of them, it handles completely differently and you approach it with a completely different attitude. So make of that what you will, but no, these are fun. I'm happy to have all three of them today anyway. I got many more at home. So let's talk about what's under the hood. Starting with the Mini Maxx. Wide max stock wheels. Got the Spectrum AVC receiver mounted right on top of the servo because I don't like the box thing. Probably wouldn't fit inside the box anyway. A clever little use of wire management here. Stock 2S battery, 3500, BL2 system with the lights, including the underside. These front lights are actually pretty durable. As many times as I've been taking it to the chin with this truck. Wheelie bar, of course. I did run 3S on this, but I found it to be a little bit overkill. I kind of actually like it when it's underpowered because it kind of makes you work for that extra bit, which is nice. Moving on to the Summit. Got the 3S system in there. I bought it used and it actually came with the system on there. I threw on the Arma Grom heatsink because it just so happened to fit. Why not? Stock bumpers, no lights, stock servo. Of course, the Spectrum receiver and this guy again with the gyro. Actually fits in there, which is really nice. Parallel configuration here. Soldered it so that I wouldn't have to deal with the bulky connectors. Stock Traxxas batteries, the 3S 1400s. Yeah, 1400s. So that's cool. Of course, we got the Summit style long travel with the stiffer springs and the extended length wheelbase arms so that it lengthens the wheelbase of the truck. Got a wheelie bar on there. Kind of flimsy though. I'm not sure how I like that. Came that way, so whatever. Then we got the Mini e-Revo, which is the most decked out built of the three. Lot going on here. Micro X2, parallel configuration, switch delete, 10 series motor. One of these days I ought to put some lights in here because it does function. It is wired up. Anyway, hot racing sways, GTR shocks, silver springs, just because I like how they look. Adjustable links, push rods, toe links, all that. Although the plastic drive shafts, only just because they're easier to change when they break. The metal ones, in order to replace like a broken drive cup, you have to go into the diff, and that's kind of not ideal. I want to say it's the 8000 kV. It's a real spicy one. It's written on there somewhere. It's buried. Censored. Savox servo, of course. Got the associated 14MT wheels. I like how they look. Summit style extended wheelbase arms. Hot racing carriers. This one's heavier, but it's not nearly as heavy as the Mini Maxx. But this sucker really hauls ass, let me tell you. Those are the three we brought today. I didn't bring the Rally today, but we drove that yesterday, and you guys got to look at that. But anyway, day 2 with the Wide Max. Highly recommend it. Highly, highly recommend it. Door. Did you have a good day at the park? Huh? Did you have a good day at the park? Yeah, of course you did. You're a good boy.